There was some sprinkles during batting practice, a chance of more rain about an hour from now, but we're hopeful of playing baseball all night long and hopefully with a smiling scoreboard at the end of it for the Reds once again. Time for our Elk and Elk storylines for tonight's game. The Reds offense on the road, you know how slowly they started on the road. The first 20 games, a 3-17 record, but the last 4 hitting over 300, averaging nearly 7 runs per game and 9 home runs. The 9 home runs equals the total number of home runs they had in their first 20 games. And the hope is that'll continue tonight here at Coors Field in game 2 of the 4-game set. Brian Price, a happy guy yesterday. Not only did his Reds win here with the 5 home runs, his basketball team, the Golden State Warriors, were victorious over Oklahoma City, so they make it to the NBA Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers starting later this week. Here's his smiling scoreboard lineup for the Reds. Zach Cozart will be in the leadoff spot. Billy Hamilton will bat number 2. Joey Votto hit his 200th career homer yesterday, will hit 3rd. Adam Duvall, 2 home runs yesterday in the 4th spot, followed by Jay Bruce and Eugenio Suarez. Jordan Pacheco's in the lineup. It was a late lineup switch. Brandon Phillips was originally in the starting lineup, but after batting practice, he was scratched. Remember, he's been bothered by that gimpy ankle that he hurt in Milwaukee. Barnhart, the catcher and switch hitter, bats 8th, and Moscott, the pitcher, bats in the number 9 position. Cozart, of course, started yesterday with a leadoff homer. And starting for the Rockies today, this hard-throwing right-hander, John Gray. Chris?
You're right, George, about the hard-throwing part. The earned run average is high because he had one really bad start that gave up a bunch of runs, but he's pitched some outstanding baseball. A guy that averages 96 miles with a fastball. He throws a slider as his second favorite pitch. He has added a changeup and a curveball, but really doesn't use those very much. So the Reds hitters are going to be looking at pretty much hard of everything. 96 on the fastball and probably around 88 miles an hour on that slider.
Noah Syndergaard, of course, among National League starters, has the highest average fastball. This guy right behind him, Chris, and he kind of looks a little bit like him on the mound.
Well, he does. He gives you the kind of Garrett Cole look also. You know, it's a typical look of a big power right-hander that goes 6 feet 4 inches, you know, 240 pounds or so. And he's got a nice, clean delivery. So for a 20 or 4-year-old, they are very excited about having him in the rotation.
For John Gray, the story of his year has been this way. 16 runs allowed the rest of his innings after allowing 10 runs in his first inning alone. So the key, whether it's home or on the road, try to get to him early. Is his last start in Boston, he gave up a 2-run home run to Big Papi, then slammed the door on the Red Sox for the next 7 innings. He went 7 1/3 strong innings. So here's Zach Cozart, who started it with a first pitch leadoff homer for the Reds yesterday. That one misses for ball 1. The umpiring crew, Mark Wegner behind home plate. Ryan Blakeney is at first, Marty Foster at second, and Mike Winters, the crew chief, is down at third. Kind of a modified no windup delivery by this big right-hander who's 24 years of age, out of Oklahoma, 6'4", 235, and looks like an Oklahoma kid, doesn't he?
There are more and more of these pitchers who are going to that modified set position full windup. And it's really not a problem at all until runners get on base.
And Cozart on base right away. This one banged towards the alley. Over is Gerardo Parra, who cut it off and hold Cozart to a single. So Zach continues his hot hitting at the top of the lineup.
Well, 97 miles an hour is the speed of that pitch, and for Zach Cozart, that's hitting speed if you're hunting the fastball, and he is. Quick bat, very efficient swing arc, and he gets right on that fastball to do what he did yesterday, get on base with the first swing of the bat.
His 48th hit of the season. He leads the Reds in that number. Here's Billy Hamilton, originally in the lineup in the 7th spot, now in the lineup in the number 2 spot. They're in tied at third. He showed bunt in almost every at bat yesterday. Wound up with a bunt hit and a stolen base his first time up. Had 3 outstanding at bats for the Reds. His average up to 241. That's a water high. A homer, 5 knocked in for Billy. Cozart short lead. Here's the strike 1 delivery with Arenado in tied at third. Normally you look at a third baseman and you say, I can still dump a bunt down if I'm Billy Hamilton and beat it out. Not with that guy down there, Chris. He's remarkable.
Well, he may be one of the best, that's for certain. And he's a young guy still and getting better and better. So if Hamilton is thinking about bunt, first base line's the way he should go.
LeMahieu in tight, double play position at second. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
I'll tell you, I do like the way that all of a sudden Billy Hamilton is, has consumed some patience juice. Because it used to be that he would go up there and he's hacking at the first thing, and it's like he couldn't wait for his at bat to get over with. And now he's much more control of himself in the batting zone. And I like that.
From the fountain of patience. I have to check on the floor of our hotel to see if they have patience juice listed in the machine.
I want to make sure it's on the MLB approved substance list.
Don Long has spent a lot of time with Billy, and Tony Jaramillo, Chris, has spent a lot of time with Billy. It's been his project since spring training to try to get him to shorten his swing, be a little calmer at the plate, and hopefully it's starting to pay off.
A lot of times, George, when you have the body language that it looks like you're nervous and you're in a hurry and so on, they can read that on you and they can use it to your disadvantage. The more you act like you're in control, even if you're not, the better off you are.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Hit right back through the middle, but there is Story. He'll tap the bag, flip to first, and they'll just get Hamilton by half a step. Trevor Story, outstanding defensive play, battled the bag, good footwork, gets the throw to beat the speedy Hamilton. Check the Ford defensive alignment for this Rockies team. They're 5th in the league. They've committed only 25 errors. The Reds have committed 41. That's their 40th double play of the season, started by Story. Parra, Blackman, Gonzalez in the outfield. Gold Glove and silver bats for both Arenado and Gonzalez last year. LeMahieu has won a Gold Glove at second. And Walters, over from the Indians at the end of spring training, catches Gray tonight. Descalzo, who started at third yesterday, starts at first today. That's your Ford defensive alignment. Here's Joey. Votto had 2 big swings, Chris, 2 of the best swings we've seen him have in a long time. He got credit for a double with the bases loaded. 1 hop over the wall against a 40-mile-an-hour wind that would have been a grand slam home run. And then he hit his 200th home run in the 7th inning. 2 big swings from Joey yesterday.
Well, we're used to seeing him have big swings and line drives, and it's been a big void in the Reds offense so far. He knows that. I mean, but it's good to see him beginning to feel a little bit better. Maybe calmer in the batter's box. He's got a challenge here today, though, with John Gray.
1 ball, 1 strike, lined right to the third baseman Arenado. On the button by Votto, but with the overshift, Arenado playing it short. The Reds get a hit, nothing to show for it. Moscott to the mound, Blackman to the bat rack. For Walt Weiss, the manager of this Colorado Rockies team that comes in 4 games under 500, 23 and 27. Charlie Blackman in the leadoff spot. Hit his 14th career leadoff homer yesterday. On base 25 straight games. LeMahieu bats second. Arenado had yesterday off. Was in the on-deck circle when the game ended yesterday, hitting in the 3 spot. Gonzalez, Story, Parra, Descalzo, Walters, and Gray. That's 1 through 9, your Rockies batting order. good to see this lanky right-hander back on the mound. Here's John Moscott.
Well, John missed the first part of the season with that shoulder problem that he had last year. Had surgery over the winter. It was his non-throwing shoulder, injured in a game in Detroit last year. Then he went back on the DL when it started feeling bad again, but they feel like he's back and ready to go. He's pitched plenty of rehab down in the minor leagues, and let's hope he's up for the task here. First time in the big leagues in a while here at Coors Field.
There's a big-time shot. Yesterday he started it with a leadoff homer, and Charlie Blackmon does it again. Blackmon, his 15th career leadoff homer. Back-to-back days for Blackmon to lead off a game with a round trip for his 5th of the year, and he's now been on base 26 straight games. That's a big hammer from the center fielder.
You're right. You know, it seems like the leadoff position in the lineup has changed a lot. I think even the Toronto Blue Jays are experimenting with Jose Bautista from time to time in the leadoff spot. Blackmon is not the normal leadoff guy. I mean, this golf ball has hit a long, long way, and John Moscott no longer has to worry about the shutout or the no-hitter.
5 homers, 21 knocked in for Blackmon, who tags that one into right center field, and it's 1-0 Colorado. Blackmon, Chris, may be one of the more underrated center fielders in the game. He plays the game on both sides of the ball. He's an outstanding defender and offensively tough too. This one lined to left. Back is Duval. Can't get it. It's one hop off the wall. LeMahieu will cruise into second on back-to-back pitches, a homer and a 2-base hit.
Now this one also sounds like somebody stacking timber. A little roller breaking ball hanging on the inner third of the plate. That's a bad spot for it. You know, time really now for John Moscott to just step off the mound, kind of collect his thoughts right here. Forget about those last 2 pitches and the last 2 hitters. You know, you got a man on second base, you want to lead right there, but this is where you bear down and start making good pitches. At Coors Field, unlike any other major league park, you've got to really finish your breaking ball in order to get it where you want it.
Well, here's Arenado, who did not play yesterday, the first game of the season that he did not play in or pinch hit. He was in the on-deck circle when the game ended. And if the inning had been extended, he would have come to the plate representing the tying run, nothing that the Reds wanted to see, certainly. This guy has 14 homers and 39 knocked in. This one down the left field line, curving towards the corner. That's going to be out of here. Four pitches, a homer, a double, and a 2-run homer, and the Rockies lead it 3-0 just like that. That's Colorado Rocky baseball.
Well, Arenado in his young career unloads his 6th career home run against the Reds. That was a no-doubter.
By his own admission, he said yesterday was his toughest game of the season, sitting and not being able to play, and he just about jumped out of his shoes attacking that one. 41 runs batted in and 15 homers now, and here's Carlos Gonzalez. Homer, double, homer. As strange as it may seem, this is, of course, home run central for Colorado baseball from the days of the Blake Street Bombers. Going into tonight's game, the Rocks at Coors had only 26 homers, and the Reds at Great American had 12 more at 38. But tonight they got the hammer working already.
It just seems like John Moscott right now is just throwing to one part of the strike zone, which is, you know, that third base side, his arm side. You got to move that ball around a little bit. That's a good spot right there, and he'll get a line drive out.
Here's your 4 defensive alignment behind John Moscott tonight. For the Reds, Duval in left, Hamilton in center, Jay Bruce in right. Suarez, Cozart on the left side, with Brandon Phillips scratched. Jordan Pacheco, the former Rocky, will get the start at second. Joey Votto at first, and Barnhart as usual behind the plate. That's your 4 defensive alignment. There's Trevor Story in a 265, 14 homers, 36 knocked in. And he started the year in remarkable fashion. First player in Major League history with 7 homers in his first 6 games, and that vaulted him onto the headline pages of just about everybody's sports section in the first week of the season. And by the time the month of April ended, he became the National League Rookie of the Month for good reason. Talking to the hitting coach for the Colorado Rockies, Blake Doyle, saying that what's impressed him most about him is his demeanor. That he just came to the major leagues, wasn't flustered by being here. Remember, he wasn't even supposed to be the shortstop. Jose Reyes was the shortstop. The Rockies still owe him $41 million in his contract. Reyes has been ineligible to play. This one line to left, curving, and it will go foul. But with Reyes not in camp and out of the lineup, Story just took over. How about these numbers, Chris? Pretty impressive.
You've got to find a place for this young man to play when Jose Reyes comes back, who, by the way, is just reported to their AAA franchise, the Isotopes, in order to get back and get ready.
Down to third. Backhanded by Cozart. Long throw. Scooped by Votto. Nice play. Good play in the hole by Cozart, and an outstanding snap catch at the other end by Votto. 2 away.
Not an easy play for Votto because he's looking right into the sun. You can see Cozart going back, backhanding, setting his feet, and the throw just a little bit low. But, you know, if you can see where the shadows are, they're coming right out of that sun to that throw from the shortstop hole.
Well, here's Parra in at 273 homers, 23 knocked in. And Chris, to finish the thought that you started on with Jose Reyes, who was suspended as up until today, and he starts his rehab tomorrow. The question is, will he ever be a Colorado Rocky here in Denver? I mean, there's word that they may trade him, may release him. He may never even show up here.
Wow, I would be surprised if they released him. I'm sure in the meantime, when you have a player like that you have already a good substitute for, you know, you exhaust every avenue of trade talk before you decide to do something drastic. But it'd be interesting. What'd you say, 43 million?
41 million. This one lined into right center. It'll split the 2 outfielders, but Hamilton nails it, and he'll hold the runner to second. If it gets by Hamilton, Parra would be sitting on third. Good job by Billy to make a diving snare of that one before it went to the warning track.
And another hard hit ball. It can't give John Moscott any extra confidence to see that ball find the gap right there. Good play by Hamilton, although it's going to be a double either way.
So 2 away, a runner on second. 2 homers, 2 doubles in the inning. And here's Daniel Descalzo. Descalzo got the start at third with Arenado taking the day off, and boy did he respond. He had a single, a double, and a single. The double in the third plated 3 runs, and this one will get a shot into center and a run home. Another RBI for Descalzo. So 4 runs batted in the last 2 games for Daniel Descalzo. Now 7 RBIs on the season.
Well, they're trying to find a place for him to play because it seems like he's getting it done lately. Little overspin ground ball that goes right up the middle for a 2-out base hit, and that runs the man in from second base no problem. That would have saved the run right there. Doubt that they would have had Descalzo at first base, but once it goes into the outfield, you get that 4th run on the board. I'm not really sure what you say to John Moscott right now, other than forget the scoreboard and really hit your spots. And if you miss your spot, make sure you miss off the plate and not over the center of the dish.
He's been zeroed in on the middle of the plate in his first inning, and it's hurt him. 2 homers, 2 doubles, and a single. 4-0 Colorado here in the first. And this will bring up Tony Walter, the catcher tonight. Walters made his debut the first week of the month after being picked up from the Cleveland Indians towards the end of the season, end of spring training. flared foul to the left side. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Rockies catcher. 8th batter to come to the plate here in the first. 4 runs, 5 hits here in the first inning for the Rockies, and a souvenir for that fellow. Big swing and a miss. Two balls and 2 strikes. You mentioned that first base. This is the one time at this early part of the season, in the early starts of these games when the sun is blaring, where that sunlight peeks over from the left field foul line right into the eyes of the first baseman, Todd Helton, when he took over here, and Andres Galarraga in the early years of this franchise when they moved into this ballpark in '93. Originally they were talking about extending the stands down the left field line because it was becoming a problem. But you have to play the angles. Runner not going. This one line towards the corner. Descalzo around second, going to third. They may send him. Bruce will get to the ball, but Descalzo will make it all the way around from first. Another double, the 3rd double in the inning. Tony Walters picks up his 11th run batted into the season, and the Rockies lead it 5-0.
Well, he had a 2-2 count, John Moscott did, and you saw where Tucker Barnhart wanted that ball. Barnhart wants it down and away, and it goes right on the inner third of the plate, waist high. Just those are the kind of mistakes that you simply don't get by with, not only in Coors Field, but at this level.
So here's John Gray, the starting pitcher, coming to bat in the first inning, staked to a 5-0 lead. Gray in at 167 on the season.
Well, there's nobody up in the Reds bullpen, and this is the type of game that can simply blow your bullpen apart. If you need to go to it too early and you've only 2 outs into the first inning and you're down by 5.
One ball, 1 strike.
This is a must out for John Moscott.
In the corner for a strike, 1 and 2.
He's probably getting to the point where you're somewhat winded. I mean, after all, he's thrown 28 pitches here in the first inning. He's been over there to back up third base every other hitter. And, you know, it's usually the second or the third day that when you're in Denver that you really begin to feel the effect of the thin air and the altitude. First day you can get by, but after that it begins to catch up on you until you finally get used to it.
Well, it took him 29 pitches to finally get out of the inning. And by the time it's all over, 5 runs, 6 hits for the Rockies. Going to the second, they have the lead. The Reds hit 5 home runs, including 2 off the bat of Adam Duvall. Both of them going to the right side of the ballpark, right center field and right field. 2 big shots, 13 homers on the season, 11 homers in the month of May. He's been on fire, more homers than anybody else in the National League during the month, and a good candidate for Player of the Month in the National League. And how about Reds history? Well, Jay Bruce had 12 homers in 2011. Eric Davis back in '87 in that remarkable year had 12. Adam 1 away from that. And the Big Bopper, Lee May, back in '69, also with 11 round trippers. That's pretty good company. Not just in home run company, but in good guy company, too. They don't get any better than the Big Bopper, do they?
One of the best ever.
Well, here's Adam. At 271, 13 homers and 29 knocked in.
We used to spend the last few years on the Reds Caravan with the Big Bopper in our part of the tour bus, along with Marty Brenneman and Brandon Phillips for the most part. We've had Devin Mesoraco also. Boy, but Lee May, boy, does he keep it going.
And everybody's fair game.
You better believe it. As soon as you step on that bus, you've got a bullseye on you.
And really, you know, you talk about it. You need that in a clubhouse, any clubhouse. The Big Red Machine had that. And take another look at Duvall as he followed through. He hit the helmet of the catcher Walters, and he checks with him to make sure he's okay.
You know, right now there's no penalty for that unless it's obviously on purpose. But it happens a lot.
Descalzo flips to the pitcher Gray, and there's 1 away.
And there have been some catchers that have sustained some pretty good injuries from that, and they've lost playing time. And I'm wondering, you know, with the batting style of a lot of guys letting their top hand off the bat as they follow through, and then they follow through only with their bottom hand and they swing that bat all the way around. You know, I'm wondering if maybe that's something that down the road MLB are going to start taking a look at.
And they've developed now even another new helmet for catchers and mask. It's a helmet and mask combined, Chris, with pistons in the 2 front forehead areas and a piston at the area of the chin to try to prevent some of the head injuries and the concussion injuries. It's on the market now. It's been used in amateur baseball, and it's been used by 1 catcher in Major League Baseball to this point. Here's Jay. 9 homers, 31 knocked in. This one looped over the head of Descalzo in the diving effort. Won't get it, and Bruce will cruise into second with a 2-base hit.
Boy, sounded good coming off the bat right there for Jay Bruce. You know, he's got the shift up there. He's not going to let it bother him too much. Gray gets this ball just up, and you know, even though we've seen Jay Bruce hit the ball very hard on the inner part of the plate, even down. That's the spot right there. Up and out over the plate. That's pretty much sweet spot every time.
So 1 out, 1 on, a runner in scoring position for the Reds. And here's Suarez. He ended his 0 for 28 funk yesterday with 2 hits, including a homer, his 10th of the year. They'll overshift with the second baseman just about behind the second base bag. Fastball in on the hands. And you're down 5-0 after 1. And yes, this is an offensive park, but you just got to chip away. Hopefully you can hold it where it is from Moscott's standpoint, but from a Red standpoint, a couple here, a couple there, get back into the game. From the stretch, the big right-hander. Bruce off second.
You know, Suarez, you know, he had a good day yesterday. He's been battling a lot of little slumps, you know, this and that. He was an 0 for almost 30, I think, over that period of time. But if you watch him hit, it's really all about timing for Suarez. He takes kind of a big leg lift, and then he puts that front foot down. If you get that foot down in time, you're good. If it's a little bit late, you're fouling fastballs off that you should be hitting.
Bounce back through the middle. LeMahieu will have it. On to first in the dirt, and they just do get him. What a play by Descalzo with a backhand dig.
Suarez thinks he's safe.
Suarez
he's looking in the dugout saying, hey, maybe you ought to take another look at that. And I'm sure they are.
Brian Price looking to Jim Riggleman, who's talking to Rob Coughlin in the Reds clubhouse. Another look.
Well, they've got that second baseman playing just about up the middle right there, and he's a Gold Glover, LeMahieu is, and boy, Suarez hustling down the line.
No challenge from the Reds. Bruce goes to third, and there's 2 away. There's Pacheco, familiar to the fans here. 167 for the Reds. No homers, no runs knocked in. He's been the Reds' most frequently used pinch hitter. 4 for 20 as a pinch hitter. Came through the Rockies organization and very popular in the clubhouse here. Very popular as well among the fans here. Colorado draft choice in 2007 in the 9th round. Native of New Mexico, went to the University of New Mexico. He's in there because Brandon Phillips, a no-show after batting practice, bothered by that bad ankle. Fouled at the plate. No balls, 2 strikes. Pacheco in 2012 played in 130 games and hit over 300, hit 309. Played all around the field, 6 different positions. Today he's starting for the Reds at second. Breaking ball gets him. So the Reds get 2 base runners in the first 2 innings, nothing to show for it. Going to the bottom of 2, 5-0 Colorado. Great special ticket offer from Fox Sports Ohio. Go to reds.com/FSOhio right now and get view-level tickets to see the Reds take on the Nationals this Saturday and Sunday for just $10. Use the code FSOhio to get your tickets, and don't forget that this offer ends at the end of the Reds live post-game show tonight. $10 a ticket that this Saturday and Sunday as Dusty Baker and the Nationals come to town to play the Reds. Well, inning number 2, another at-bat for Charlie Blackmon, who started it off in the first with a leadoff homer, a 437-foot shot to right center field to give the Rockies a 1-0 lead. And they lead it now 5-0. We've talked a lot yesterday about the Reds home runs allowed to first batters face. Yesterday with the Rockies, the Reds feasted, and Chris, we've seen it all too often, mostly out of the bullpen. 12 times this year the Reds have given up a homer to the first batter they face with a new pitcher.
Well, that leads the league, no doubt, but I mean the Rockies weren't even on the board until yesterday, and the Reds got him 4 times to put him up there on the leaderboard. I like that pitch.
Yep.
You get ahead 0-2, you make him move his feet a little bit, you come inside without coming up and in where you really wake the hitter up and get everybody else angry at you. It's a good spot down there.
And there are a lot of parks where people are home run friendly swingers, the home team. You know, Arlington, Texas is one, and this probably is at the top of the list, Chris. You have to pitch inside. You've got to make hitters move their feet because these Rocky hitters have always been comfortable.
Well, the difference here than Arlington may be a better ballpark to have a home run hitting derby in, but this is the tougher place to pitch in because the spin on your breaking ball, it never really breaks. It just kind of rolls up there. So you really have to extend extra effort to get your breaking pitches to work properly. And if it's the first time you've been out here, you don't realize it until you get out there and you warm up in the bullpen and you realize, oh my goodness, I've got nothing today. And you go to the mound thinking, well, maybe some things will change.
Skied in the left center field. This will stay in the park. Duvall is there. He'll glove it, and they've retired Blackman, one away here in the second. There's the second baseman, DJ LeMahieu, who doubled in the first. And he later scored on the Nolan Arenado home run, Arenado's 15th of the year. Those of you that have been here are familiar with Coors Field. Hard to believe 1993 was when the Rockies first started playing here in Denver, and then 95 they moved into this park. They've made some changes over the years. This year, Chris, in the bullpen area where we would always watch the players get ready, that fence has been added. That adds about a 9-foot addition to make it more difficult to hit homers, but they're still flying out of here. That's the only change to the dimensions of the field. But way up above that, in the top of the right center field stands, is the rooftop. This one hit the center field back. Hamilton looking up, forget it, that's gone. DJ LeMahieu 2 for 2. His homer is 3rd of the year, and make it 6-0. It's home run derby for the Rockies early on here in Denver.
Well, he just dropped the head on that one. I'm not sure if that ball was really as inside as our Fox Tracks reports it to be. It looked like it had more of the plate than that, and that's big man's part of the ballpark right there.
No way, said Mascot. That's gone.
Well, he should have pitched here before they had the humidor. He'd have really had fun then.
Here's Arenado. The home run by Arenado, his 15th of this year. When you look at it, though, and you can say, and over the years they've said it, you know, well, if you're a Rockies player and you hit homers, it's because you're in Denver. For Nolan, at home, he's now hit 28 home runs in the last 2 years. On the road, he's hit 29. So he's legit wherever he plays. Chris.
Well, he's just a good ball player, you know, an all-round ball player. I mean, you can look at his offensive numbers, and they're just outstanding. But you know, the fact that he's one of the best glove men of third baseman in baseball right now, and he's just a smart base runner, a good guy to lean on, just an outstanding player.
Almost a check swing, and it'll go 1-4 to 3 on the putout as it glances off the glove of Mascot, and Pacheco makes the play. And if you're making an all-star team or drafting players, that under 25 group that has really come on the scene in the last couple of years, Arenado is one of those special players. He and Machado at third, or Machado can even be shortstop. Correa. You know, you just saw Lindor.
I think more than ever, it's a young man's game.
Wow.
And the teams that have the most assets are those teams that have the most young players. I'm talking about filler players or guys that are 4A players and a whole bunch of, you know, numbers, but I'm talking about the few superstar players that can come up and make an impact. If you've got those kind of players, you can deal. You can make yourself good.
A lot of fine infielders up the last couple of years, and in the outfield, guys like Trout and Harper, all of them in that early 20s category, so they'll be around for a long time, and that's good news for the game of baseball. And we say that as we head towards the June 9th baseball draft, a key draft for the Reds in this rebuilding process. The Reds director of amateur scouting, Chris Buckley, has been hunkering down with his people for weeks getting prepared for this. In fact, really, when the year ended last year and they found out they were number 2, it started last year. So it's a process. You got to draft them, you got to develop them, and hopefully you get them here and they contribute. On the outside corner for a strike, 3-2. Gonzalez flied to left first time up.
Well, Gonzalez, as we mentioned yesterday, is about as far away from home plate as you can get and still be legally in the batter's box. Look like both his feet are right on the line. And being on the line means that you're in the box. So you can have your foot outside the box and just a sliver of your foot touching that line and you're okay. But I mean, he pushes it. That's why they're continuing to pitch him low and away.
Tried again, 3-2, setting up again low and away. This one rocketed to left. Back, gone, out of here. Four home runs for the Rockies in the first 2 innings, make it 7-0 Colorado.
See, that's the problem with pitching to one side of the plate and then making a mistake over the plate instead of off the plate. Because Gonzalez is looking out there. He can sense where the catcher is set up. He knows what the Reds have done against him nearly every time. And if you just make a mistake and catch a little more of the plate than your catcher wants, a guy like Carlos Gonzalez makes a good living doing that.
Now the guy in the Rockies cap made a nice catch. 4 homers tonight for Gonzalez. He's now homered in 5 of the last 6 games. This one hit the center, but it'll stay in the park. At the warning track, Hamilton there. Carlos Gonzalez and the Rockies have unloaded on the Reds early. 7-0 Colorado. Live streaming sports service delivers everything you've come to expect and a whole lot more. It includes free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball, blackout, and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. There's a bouncer to the right side that'll tick under the glove of the first baseman Descalzo, and Tucker Barnhart will have a leadoff hit for the Reds here in the 3rd. And that'll bring up the pitcher John Moscott.
I mean, do you bunt to try to get a run here, or do you let him swing away and hope you start a big inning?
You bunt.
They're going to change that hit to an error, George.
Error on Descalzo, so Barnhart's still on, but the error charged to the first baseman Descalzo. Scott showing bunt. Short lead Barnhart. Reds pitchers have struggled not only hitting but getting bunts down. Like one of the turning points of the game yesterday. And Straley did not get a bunt down. They picked off Suarez from second, but then he battled back at a 9-pitch at bat and worked a walk with 2 outs. That extended with 1 out. That lookout. Did that get him? It looked like it did. Right on this, maybe the neck. Take a look.
Oh, got him right on the ear.
On the ear.
On the one ear that doesn't have a flap covering it.
Boy, you talk about all the strange things that have happened to Mascot in the last 2 years. The dislocation of his non-throwing shoulder, then coming back with the side pull, and now the right ear clipped by that pitch at about 94, 95 miles an hour.
He's very, very fortunate.
Man.
I mean, a couple of inches more inside, that ball gets him in the forehead. Thank goodness he was able to get out of the way of that pitch.
Right on the ear. Oh, thank God. I mean, Steve Ballman checking him out. I mean, they haven't seen the replay, so from their standpoint, Ballman wants to make sure he didn't get hit in the side of the head and the ear. Zach Cozart standing next to him. On the other side of that, Chris, as he fell right on that left shoulder again.
Well, it was the left shoulder that put him on the DL.
Yeah. Daniel Wright has started to loosen in the bullpen just in case.
I'll tell you, you could.
Wow.
If you really wanted to be cruel, you can make an argument that he tried to bunt at that pitch.
Ooh. He's staying in the game and going down to first. Nice round of applause from the fans here in Denver. Boy. Right loosening for the Reds. And the Reds have 2 on, no one out here in the 3rd. So let's see if they can parlay this into something offensively. Here's Cozart, who singled in the top of the 1st and then was retired on a double play ground ball off the bat of Billy Hamilton. Fastball up high for ball 1.
You know, the fact that Gray throws 96 is not surprising. He's a big, strong, burly guy, and he's thrown very hard his whole life. But the fact that he does it what looks like in such an effortless motion, it's like he's playing catch. I mean, when he finishes, he's finishing almost standing up.
Well, the one thing the Rockies have done throughout their minor league system, Bobby Apodaca, remember the former pitching coach here, is one of the guys that's come through, and he was a great mechanics guy who tried to cut down extraneous motion, and they've tried it a lot with some of their young pitchers coming up. And for this guy, it's worked to perfection. And out of that same mold, Chris, is a former Reds pitcher who, you know, we knew very well. Steve Foster is now the pitching coach here.
Good guy, good pitching coach.
3 balls, no strikes to Cozart.
And a proud American.
Amen. Is that what you have to declare? We'll let you tell that story when he comes out to change a pitcher.
Well,
That's up high, ball 4.
Might not be all that long the way the Gray's gone here in this inning. The Rockies have spotted him a 7-run cushion. And he took an 0-2 pitch and hit the opposing pitcher with it. He walked Cozart on 4 pitches.
And here comes Steve. Tell the story.
Well, he was with the Reds, Steve Foster was, and the Reds used to go into Montreal. When you pass through customs, they gave you a little sheet that you fill out on the airplane of the things that you were bringing into the country that you had to declare. You had more than $10,000 on you if you had vegetables or some things like that, right? So he didn't know really what it meant. He was wearing his cowboy hat and his boots, and the agent, the Canadian immigration agent, said, "Sir, do you have anything to declare?" And he didn't know what to say, so he took his hat off and he put it over his heart, and he said, "I am proud to be an American."
Amen.
we, of course, cracked up.
It
was a story that's true, and he's proud of that story.
He was a great teammate, and yes, a great American, and he's become a darn good pitching coach. So the bases are loaded for Billy. Hamilton bounced into a 6-3 double play, first time up. See if the Reds can get something out of this good start to the inning. That's up high.
Well, Gray's missing up high, and he's finishing almost standing straight up when he throws the baseball. And I haven't seen John Gray pitch enough to know exactly how he should finish. But if you've ever been to a youth game, you'll hear the father of the pitcher yelling, "Bend your back."
Ball 1 delivery. That's ball 2. And you wonder, Chris, I mean, it was a scary moment for John Moscott, and Gray kept looking in too as he was laying on the ground, not sure exactly where he was hit. I mean, that might have affected him a little bit too.
Well, he's thrown 6 straight out of the strike zone.
Two and 0 to Hamilton. Fouled off for strike 1. Billy 3 hits yesterday, a bunt hit and a stolen base, a single that kept the Reds rally going in the 4th, and another single to right field in the 8th inning. One of his best offensive days of the year yesterday here in Denver. Two and 1. Slap foul down the left field line and out of play. .355 career average. That's now the #1 average for Billy against any other National League team after his 3 hits yesterday. Made his major league debut 2011 with the Reds. Digging in here with the 2-2. Yes, missing on the outside corner. Gray on his tippy toes off the mound, peering in, thinking that was strike 3.
Well, maybe a little bit too much of an acting job there for Tony Walters behind the plate. He really moved his glove and elevated it up a little bit, and that's probably why Mark Wagner didn't bite at it.
Pop backhand out of play. Hanging in there is Billy Hamilton.
The art of framing a pitch is really getting to the spot before the ball gets there, so that how you catch it, you always bring it back towards the center of the plate ever so slightly. If you catch one that's right on the edge of the strike zone, rather than trying to move it into the middle of the zone, you hold it there for an extra second to give the umpire a good look. If you move it, you only move it a fraction of an inch. If you move it too much, you're giving it away.
Fastball in is what they're wanting. Billy hanging in there again. Good at bat for Hamilton. Trying to prolong it, get a run in for the Reds with Votto on deck. Barnhart reached on an error. Moscott hit by a pitch. Cozart walked. Votto, a big double yesterday that plated a pair, and a home run as well, the 200th of his career. Gray to the stretch with the bases loaded. That misses inside. It'll force in a run. So the Reds finally get on the board without the benefit of a hit. Back-to-back walks here in the third. And it's now a 7-1 ball game. And here comes Votto.
Well, I think John Gray's still angry at the pitch that he thought he had Billy Hamilton struck out on, and it was called a ball. Marginal at best. Hamilton pesky enough to foul off a few. Reds could make it real interesting with a couple of key hits in this inning.
Well, it was a 9-pitch at bat that turned the inning around for the Reds yesterday. That was Straley, and that 9-pitch at bat gives the Reds a chance to get Votto to the plate with the bases loaded. Joey hit one right on the button, but right at Arenado with the overshift on at the shortstop position. Breaking ball drops in there for a strike. From 95, 96 to 70.
And Votto, I'm sure, hunting a fastball on that first pitch, thinking after he just walked 3, or walked a couple, that is, and then hit a guy, that he's going to be coming there with a first pitch fastball. Those 2
at bats yesterday bringing Joey's average to 400 with runners in scoring position in a year where the Reds have struggled at times. The one consistent has been they've been pretty good with runners in scoring position.
They were very good yesterday, the Reds were, and it's usually the difference between winning a ball game and not.
He holds on it, didn't miss by much. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Gray probably thought that was a better pitch than the first one he threw Votto.
That's slap foul to the left side. 1-2. If you weren't with us yesterday, what a day. Bases loaded, and here with a 41-mile-an-hour wind blowing in straight away. He hit it into the teeth of that wind. 1 hop over the wall, 2 runs scored, and the Reds tied the game. And then later on, there goes home run number 200 for his career to right field. A big day for the Reds first baseman. One and 2 to Votto. He got him.
Pretty good pitcher's pitch right there, because he has only thrown 1 fastball on this at bat. First 2 pitches were fast or for breaking balls, and then a fastball that Votto fouled off, and I think this may have been a changeup. And all geared up to the heat. Votto could not hold back.
Neither team has faced either of these starters, so Votto and the Reds are seeing Gray for the first time, and the Rockies seeing Moscot for the first time.
How are we looking on that?
So far, a mismatch. Here's Duvall. Bounce to first time up. Gaudy numbers for Adam with runners in scoring position. The Louisville native was at a remarkable month of May. 11 homers in May, 13 homers for the season.
Yeah, Gray really trying to find his release point. Right now, he's all over the place. I mean, he's throwing his breaking ball uphill. He's missing up mostly with his fastball. And he's thrown a whole bunch of pitches here in the first few innings.
And he's sticking with his breaking stuff. Change-ups or breaking balls. He threw 1 fastball to Votto, and it's been all off speed here.
That's why ball clubs and scouts and people really love those pitchers that have the ability to strike hitters out. They may be a little bit wild, but you can walk the bases loaded and then strike out the side.
Ahead in the count. Gray again, 1-2.
Well, the Reds are doing their best to try to upset the timing of John Gray, too. He went through the signs with Tony Walters behind the plate 2 or 3 times before they finally settled on something. When he was ready, Duvall called timeout.
Count evens at 2-2.
Well, he threw 23 pitches his first 2 innings to John Gray, and this is his 26th coming up in this inning.
Back-to-back strikeouts. 2 away here, and the Reds still have 3 sitting out there.
Well, he goes with the same formula he does to get Joey Votto out. He does the same thing with Adam Duvall.
It'll be up to Jay Bruce to try to get a run in. They get a run in on a walk after an error, hit batter, and a walk loaded the bases, but that's all the Reds have been able to get here in the 3rd. Jay doubled to right in the 2nd inning. Missing wide with that fastball, and it's 1-0.
Well, like so many of the Reds hitters, Jay Bruce has just gone off against the Rockies. Last 12 games he's played against the Rockies, a .350 hitter with 3 home runs.
Did he hold on it? No, he didn't. Mike Winters saying he went around 1-1. Talk about it often in this park. You don't want to walk, folks. It comes back to haunt you. 2 walks, a hit batter, and an error have given the Reds a golden opportunity. They've so far been able to come up with only 1 run. Here's the 2-1 to Bruce. And it'll go 3 balls and 1 strike to the Reds right fielder.
These are the kind of innings that can really put some stress not only on your mental approach if you're John Gray, but your arm too. 30 pitches in this inning. Really battling himself. He's battled the umpire. Or you leave one out for Bruce right here, and it's a whole different ball game.
Bruce digs in. Here's the 3-1 with 2 away. Bang down to short. Story picks it up, and they'll get the out. So it'll go as 6-3 with a shortstop playing on the second base side. The Reds' golden opportunity, they get only 1 run. Now, this is a home run park, and over the years, the most games with 4+ home runs against any opponent in the last 4 years, the Colorado Rockies, 6 games against the Reds. 6 times. The Yankees 4 against the Red Sox, and the Astros 3 against the Mariners. And remember, the Yankees and Red Sox play in the same division. The Astros and the Mariners play in the same division. So you see the total number of games much more. In only 30 total games, the Rockies 6 times have hit that 4 home run mark against the Reds. The Reds feasted on the homers yesterday to win a big game 1 of this series, but so far today it's been all Colorado 7-1. John Moscott's day is done. Chris, here comes Daniel Wright.
Daniel Wright, who came in and made his first major league appearance, his debut at Dodger Stadium as a starter. Availed himself pretty well. 5 1/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs overall. He threw the ball over the plate, and I expect him to do that here for the rest of the time that he's in this ball game.
I gave him a pretty good number, 41, Chris. What was your first number?
62.
Yeah. That's a Tom Seaver kind of number, huh? Here's Parra, double to center his first time up. He joined us late. Home runs by Blackman, Arenado in the first, LeMahieu and Gonzalez in the second have helped pace the Rockies to a 7-1 lead. Center field, Hamilton back, looking up. Guess what? That's gone too. Gerardo Parra's 4th home run and the 5th home run by the Rockies tonight. They now lead at 8-1.
You know, if you just close your eyes and listen to this ball game, it sounds like Dante Bichette, Vinny Castilla, Larry Walker, I mean, Andres Galarraga. I mean, those are the kind of sounds that those guys made with the bats.
The Blake Street Bombers. Well, on this night, it's the Rockies of 2016 that have bombed 5 home runs, and we're only in the 3rd. 8-1 they lead it. And here's Descalzo singled in a run in the first. And really, Chris, you mentioned it when the series started that, I mean, for veteran pitchers who come in, it's a learning experience, but for young pitchers who have never pitched in Denver, it's a whole different world, a whole different feel to the game, and a whole different feel to the ball.
This is a good hitting ball club too. I mean, it's not only the thin air and the mile-high altitude. These guys can swing the bats. I mean, for a visiting team that comes only in here once a year like the Reds, you know, you hunker down, you bust it on every pitch you possibly can. You know that your earned run average is probably going to take a beating, but most of all, you pitch aggressively here. But it's got to be down in the zone.
To Hopper down to first. Votto double dribbles it, but there quickly is right, and they can make the play. 3-1 is your put out. Here comes the catcher hitting in the 8th spot, Tony Walters. He doubled in the 5th run for the Rockies in the first inning. Rockies 5 runs in the first, 2 in the second, and 1 so far here in the 3rd off the home run from Parra. Slapped the other way and out of play. A ball and a strike to the Rockies catcher. Walters has had a chance to start along with the number 2 catcher, Dustin Garneau. That came because the regular catcher Nick Hundley's on the 15-day disabled list with a strained oblique. This one bounced into center. That's a base hit. So he's 2 for 2, a double and a single. Hundley has started his rehab and is expected back by the weekend. And you know, Chris, in this ballpark, with the length of games and everything else you deal with, you really need 3 catchers on your roster. It's not like you have 2 and somebody that's just an emergency catcher. You almost need 3 here.
Well,
over the course of a year, you can't expect somebody to catch 140 games here.
No, you can't. And you got to have a backup guy that can give you some good quality work.
Here's Gray, gets the bunt down. They'll take the out at first, so a successful sacrifice from Gray. That puts a runner at second. Hey, tomorrow on an all-new Reds Weekly, get ready, and if you can't see it in person, make sure you DVR it. The crafty left-hander will go one-on-one with Brandon Finnegan. Tyler Holt has become an energy guy, and we'll delve into that. Whether in the lineup or coming off the bench, he's added speed and energy to the Reds lineup. Plus, Reds fans in their 60s are making their dreams come true. Join Jeff Piccaro, Doug Flynn tomorrow night at 6 for Reds Weekly. You've enjoyed your chats with Finnegan this year, haven't you?
You know, he's an interesting young man. I mean, and you keep reminding yourself that he's very young. He's 23 years old. I've got kids older than that, obviously, but you know, he gets it, but at the same time, he's got a lot to learn. But boy, does he have a good arm and just a certain amount of intensity about him that makes you think that he's going to be successful.
He's a competitor, there's no doubt about that, and that's helped him get through some tough nights already. There's Blackman up for the 3rd time in 3 innings. Homered in the first, flied out to left in the second. This one slapped the other way and out of play. Blackman came out of a great college program at Georgia Tech. Now 29 years of age. They're smart. They brought their raincoats. There were some sprinkles earlier. Not only do they stay dry, but they got a souvenir too. Now they've changed it back again, Chris, on that ground ball by Tucker Barnhart. First it was a hit, then an error. Now it's back to a hit again. So the Reds did have the benefit of at least 1 hit in that 3rd inning.
And it makes it an earned run.
Right to the stretch. Takes a little off, way out in front, Blackman. And they get out of the inning, but not before Gerardo Parra's home run, his 4th of the year, makes it 8-1 Colorado.
Tonight's mini Let's Motor player profile. Johnny Cueto, perhaps you've heard of him. National League Player of the Week he was named today. 2-0 record, 1 earned run in 15 innings pitched. A complete game shutout versus the Padres on May 23rd. And this season, wow, performing like crazy for the Giants. Boys 8-1, a 2.31 ERA. Johnny Baseball getting it done.
Yeah, it's funny, just remembering walking over to the ballpark today, JD. It was here last year when we were in Denver that Cueto was traded to Kansas City. And a day that was kind of frenetic. The rumors swirling before the game, and then after the game, he wound up being traded. And those numbers are very impressive. 8-1, an ERA of 2.31. The thing that kind of bothers you here is Suarez for the Reds. And Chris, you and I were talking about it before the game. He's averaging 97 pitches a game and 7 2/3 innings per game. That's a lot early in the season for a guy that you really have to treat gingerly.
Well, he shortened one of his minor league seasons a couple of years ago because of that, because he just had a tired shoulder at the end of the year. But 24 years old with his kind of a golden arm, this is a guy that you really want to make sure that you take care of. There are a lot of different ways to do that. You can watch pitch counts, you can watch innings, you can skip a start now and then, you can give him a couple of weeks off in the middle of the summer. I mean, there's no set way right now that anybody has figured out how to protect arms. Everybody right now is shooting in the dark. They say, well, maybe we'll cut it off at 100 pitches, or maybe we won't let a guy pitch any more than 10% or 20% more than his innings that he did the year before. But none of that has been around long enough to really find out whether it's going to help you cut down the number of arm injuries, especially Tommy John surgery. The basic fact is this on Tommy John surgery: the pitchers that throw hard have Tommy John surgery. The ones that throw softer don't have as much a chance. But everybody wants hard throwers because they're harder to hit.
Third walk of the game, a leadoff walk here in the fourth from Gray. So Suarez is on, and here's Jordan Pacheco, who struck out first time up in the second.
Being around the strike zone is something that John Gray has been a lot this year. He came into this ball game having only 13 walks in close to 40 innings, and he's walked 3 already here this evening. And hit a batter.
And struck out 3. He's been no stranger to the strikeout. Twice he's had 10 or more strikeouts, 1 10 and 1 11 strikeout game. Fouled off, 0-2.
We have touched on this a little bit in the past, as we try to get more friendly to the baseball analytics. But FIP is fielding independent pitching, and it's an indicator, kind of like what an earned run average is how good a pitcher is. And actually, it's pretty good at predicting the future with pitchers. And we'll show you something on John Gray I thought was very interesting.
0-2, dribble to the left side. Arenado will get one at second, on to first. They turned it. Arenado got there quickly, and a great job by LeMahieu off balance to get the throw to first. They get Pacheco by a step.
Well, we were talking about John Gray and the difference between his earned run average and his FIP, fielding independent pitching. And when you look at him, John Gray in that earned run average is 126th in the major leagues with an earned run average almost at 6. But when you look at FIP, and I'll explain what it is in a second, he's the 18th best in all of baseball. So baseball people who are crunching the numbers, they like that FIP because it essentially shows what a pitcher does with things that are under his control. How many hits you give up, how many walks you're giving up, not how many hits, but how many strikeouts you have, walks you have, hit batters, and home runs. Of course, it does not have a park factor in it, so pitching in Colorado, it doesn't hurt them one way or another. So it's kind of hard to get your arm around if you're used to seeing earned run average, but when we introduced Gray at the beginning of the game, he's got an earned run average of 6, and people are sitting back saying, well, how can he have an earned run average of 6 if he throws 99 miles an hour? Well, sometimes you have some bad luck, and I think that's what Gray has run into so far this year, or 1 or 2 real bad outings that run that earned run average up.
And that statistic certainly honors strikeouts, high strikeout rates, and low walk rates.
Absolutely. Well,
which is something you can control as a pitcher.
and keeping the ball in the ballpark, which also favors most guys that throw hard, because hard throwers usually give up fewer home runs than the contact guys.
2 balls, 1 strike to Barnhart, who was credited with a base hit, changed to a walk, and then credited with a base hit on the ground ball down to first in the 3rd. It's always 1 for 1. Some Reds faithful here. A lot of them walking around town and outside the ballpark. Every time we come here, Chris, there's a nucleus of Reds fans that always make their way to say hi to the Reds players as they walk over. The team hotel's only a couple of blocks away.
Well, it's a fun city to visit, and we are staying in a hotel that's very close to the 16th Avenue pedestrian mall, where you can walk up and down that whole road, or hop on a little shuttle bus and take you all the way from one end of Denver all the way to the other.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him, and that'll do it. That is 4 strikeouts for the big right-hander. The Reds trailing this one 8-1 as we head to the bottom of 4.
Mild-mannered as they come as a Major League Baseball player. Wasn't always that way, though. As a youngster, he used to throw temper tantrums on the field until his dad set him straight. Take a listen.
When I was, I don't know, probably 8, Little League ball, 8 to 12, and I got embarrassed a couple times. My grandma was at a game one time, like the first time she had seen me play. You know, first at bat, I struck out and threw a tantrum. He sat me out the rest of the game, but that's good. You're not supposed to throw temper tantrums, and I definitely did when I was young, so I try not to do that too much anymore.
Guys, if I was to take a poll as to who would be the temper tantrum thrower as a kid, Zach Cozart might come in last if you didn't know the answer previously. But, like a good dad, set him straight.
Yeah, and now that he's a dad with Cooper, you got to look at life a little differently, don't you? Great competitor and a leader on this Reds club. Whereas solid player, solid person. From a pretty good baseball program too, Mississippi. Had a great college baseball year this year. Hey, congratulations, Jeff Brantley's Mississippi State club. They make it to the regionals for college baseball. Congratulations to Ohio State. The Buckeyes heading there, Chris.
Well, the Buckeyes are heading there, and off the top of my head, I got to think Georgia Wright State is heading there.
Yeah.
I believe Louisville is hosting one of the regionals down at their beautiful baseball park.
Down at Patterson Stadium. The Louisville Western Michigan matchup will take place. That's a bounding base hit into right field. A leadoff hit for the big second baseman for the Rockies, DJ LeMahieu.
Well, and Xavier Musketeers are in this year, so congratulations to the Musketeers. I think they're in the same bracket as Vanderbilt, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think they play Vandy, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Ohio State, with their win in the Big Ten playoffs, will move on to play Wright State. So leadoff hitter on here in the fourth. Here's Arenado, homered, then bounced out his second time up, 1 for 2. Hard hit. Suarez will get one at second. On to first. They keep the foot on the bag in turn 2. 38th double play for the Reds. So base runner erase. Nice job on the tricky hop, and nice job on the turn by Pacheco.
Nice little action on that fastball, it looks like, out of Daniel Wright. Keeps it down, gets Arenado to hit over the top of it, and let the defense do some work.
Pacheco's played first, second, third. He's caught, played left field, and his time here in Denver, very versatile and very useful on this ball club. And he is the Reds, of course, emergency catcher when needed. Probably of all those positions, the position he's played the least is second base, where he's playing tonight. Here's Gonzalez, flied to left first time up and then ripped his 10th homer. 4th straight game with a homer, and homers in 5 of the last 6 games for big number 5. Rare combination of power, speed, defense. Now, Chris, when we talked to Lou Piniella in spring training, he said the first thing I look for is bat speed. Well, this guy's got bat speed.
Well, no question about it. I mean, there has been some bat speed going on. Gonzalez's home run, if you're thinking about how far it went only 384 feet. The one he hit earlier tonight. Arenado hit one 380. Blackman led off the bottom of the first inning with one that went 437. And Gerardo Parras got one at 439. So those are the numbers on the dingers.
Those are the analytics for tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the Rockies right fielder. Over his career, he's had 3 multi-home run games against the Reds. Had one 3-home run game at Great American Ballpark a couple of years ago. Got under this just a bit. Sky high fly ball. Here comes Billy. Here comes Duval, who'll take charge. Adam will, and that'll do it. So leadoff hit, but the double play erases that runner. Wright gets through the inning. Reds go to work. Wright's up first. Being brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on United States News Best Children's Hospitals. beautiful country here in the environs of Denver. Sloan Lake that you just saw a peek of right there. Reds will leave town after this 4-game series. Head back home where Dusty Baker and the Washington Nationals will come to town. When we leave, we will leave Josh Hall, our producer here. He will trek the mountains, go to the desert, look for rabbits in the woods, and come back with some good stories. Is that him heading out early? On my way over to the ballpark yesterday, I was accompanied by a rabbit in downtown Denver. Story has the ground ball off the bat of right. There's one away. Hey, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Great to have you with us. Josh Hall is our producer, and no, he hasn't left yet. He's still here. Corey Alfer is our director. Matt Sigafoo styling up some highlights for you. And Jim Miller giving you some graphic support for tonight's ball game. George Grant, Chris Welsh, and Jim Day. There's Cozart, singled and walk on base his first 2 times up. The Rockies come in 4 games under 500, 23 and 27. In the National League West, the Giants start the day 4.5 games ahead of the Dodgers, and Colorado 7.5 games back. So they're still in the hunt. At home, they've struggled, though, only 9 and 13 here, and they've been an even 500, 14 and 14 on the road. Big swing by Cozart, and it's 2-1. And the thing that usually gets him, Chris, and when we talk about pitching and how important it is here, when the engine has stopped running late in the year, it's been a lack of pitching. But Walt Weiss thinks that some of these young pitchers, like this young man here, and some of the other pitchers they're bringing along, will help as they mature this year. Popped up behind second. Story there. He's got it. 2 away.
Well, you're exactly right, George. I think if you talk to Walt Weiss and the people that are around this ball club, they'll tell you that by the second half of this year shouldn't be the undoing of the bullpen like it normally is, although they've had histories of very good Septembers. The bullpen gets worn out here because the pitching gets knocked out early in a ball game. You have to go to your bullpen a lot. But they hope to get Adam Ottavino back, who was their closer last April before he had Tommy John surgery. He should be back sometime in the month of June. Miguel Castro is a guy that came in yesterday, young man that throws about 98 miles an hour. They thinks that he will be able to, help down the road too. So they've got a little different composition of their bullpen now, and they've got some arms to go to. If they can just kind of climb back into this National League West race, right now it looks like the Giants are beginning to make some space between themselves and everybody else.
No balls, 1 strike to Billy, who bounced into a double play and walked in the 3rd with the bases loaded. A 9-pitch at bat that forced in the lone Reds run.
Giants are 4 ahead of the Dodgers and 7.5 ahead of these Rockies.
One ball, 2 strikes to Hamilton. Just does stay alive, fouling that off. Count stays at 1-2.
Gray looks like he's slowed everything down just a little bit. I mean, he's up around 80 pitches, which isn't all that many, I guess, considering that he had a 1 inning where he pitched almost 30. But his breaking ball looks better now than it did earlier in the game. I made a comment earlier about how he was throwing his breaking ball uphill. And really the only way to show that is to envision yourself trying to throw a curveball but stepping up on a mound instead of down off of the mound. When you throw a good breaking ball, normally you bend your back at the very end and your arm finishes on the outside of your stride leg. Like that. That was kind of downhill that time. But sometimes when your body gets ahead of your arm a little bit and it lags behind, it never really gets on top. And you spin it up there, And you try to get into the strike zone, so you lower your arm a little bit, and it just kind of looks like you're throwing it uphill. So that's where that saying came from.
Kind of like Jeff Brantley looked when he pitched, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he pitched very effectively up in the zone.
Yeah. The Cowboy. Here's the delivery to Hamilton, fouled off again. But Billy's shown us, Chris, in the last 2 days some of his best at bats. 9 pitches in the last at bat, 7 pitches in this at bat. Don Long is hitting Minter, looking on as he digs in 2-2. Votto 0 for 2 on deck behind him. Hit hard off the top of the mound, fielded by Story, and he makes a nice play. That skimmed off the top of the mound and gave Story a chance to get to it. 8-1 Rockies as we go to the bottom of 5.
Go to Reds.com/FSOhio right now and get view level tickets to see your Reds take on the Nationals this Saturday and Sunday for just $10. Use the code FSOhio to get your tickets. And don't forget, this offer ends at the end of Reds Live postgame tonight.
Okay, JD. View level seats. What's your favorite seat? You got the condominium down the third base line, but as we all walk around Great American Ballpark, what's your favorite spot in the ballpark now?
I got to tell you, I like the club seats, first base side outside of the Fox Sports Ohio Champions Club, and that's not a homer pick. It's just you're up a little bit. You're not up too high, even though there's not a bad seat in the ballpark. You're on the red side, the dugout side. I just love those seats.
How about you, Chris?
He stunned me with that because I would have sworn that he would have said he liked the play-by-play seat.
You know what? Let me amend that.
That's a good one.
I like my seat, George. I'm not lying about that.
Anytime we get to sit next to each other, it's always fun. We got a great group. And
I mean, if you can look out the window of your office and you see a baseball field,
amen,
you're going good.
Anytime you're at the ballpark, it's good news. Trevor Story bounces out 0 for 3 on the 5-3 putout. You got him good on that one. I kind of like our spot when we do the games from right field.
Yeah.
Right by in that camera bay, right over the right field fence. That's a great view. Or when we did it up at the boat, too. Way up on top.
I like both of those.
Here, I mean, Chris, when they first opened the park and you and I came here, we walked around the top of this ballpark, and the changes they've made over the years, that the rooftop that they've added, I mean, just like the Reds, you have to compete, and every year you have to come up with something. Phil Castellini continues to do that in our ballpark.
The rooftop is a bar.
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
That's their #1 destination at the ballpark now here. Slap to the right side into the camera booth. 1 ball, 1 strike. A good opportunity for Daniel Wright to kind of get his feet on the ground. He gave up a homer to the first batter he faced. That's the 11th time this year, and now actually the 12th time this year, that a Reds pitcher has given up a home run to the first batter that he faced. I mean, I've been through years where it's happened 3 or 4 times, but man.
And I think if that sounds like a lot, I think that the league lead last year was somewhere around 20.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing how often that does happen.
Most of the Reds' damage has come against the bullpen, not against the starters. Line to right. Here comes Bruce. He'll slam on the brakes and hold him to a single.
So like the way Jay Bruce came in hard on that ball, because he wasn't sure how long that ball was going to hang up there. He didn't play it into a single right off the bat. I mean, he's thinking, hey, even in an 8-1 ball game, if I can make a great catch, I'm going to make one.
That's funny. When the game ended last night, we went back down into the clubhouse. The last out of the game was made by Jay Bruce, and a ball that was heading towards the alley. Bruce made a running catch to snare it, and he kind of nodded when we said nice catch, because he knew who was on the on-deck circle. He said the last guy I wanted to see come to the plate was Nolan Arenado. I don't think any of us wanted to see Arenado come to the plate. He gives you solid defense every night in right field. There's the 1-strike delivery to Descalzo.
You know, if you're Daniel Wright, this is kind of interesting spot for him, because he didn't know he was going to get called up to the major leagues. He started the season in Double-A. But, you know, the Reds have run out a lot of right-handers that are very similar in the style of pitching as Daniel Wright. You know, Tim Adelman has been up here. We've seen John Moscow. We've seen Tim Melville.
In the dirt, that'll send the runner to second. Wild pitch.
I'm probably missing a few others, because the Reds have had about 10 different starters so far this year. But none of these guys are really overpowering. None of them have made their way through the major leagues yet. But they're getting an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues. And you don't know how long that opportunity will be or how fleeting it will be. So Daniel Wright has come in here and, you know, in a tough circumstance, after the first batter he faced gave up the home run, he's availed himself pretty well. It seems to me he gets the idea of changing speeds, moving the ball around a little bit.
And there are 2 different schools. One is don't bring someone up until they're completely ready. I mean, the Pittsburgh Pirates are doing that right now. They got 3 pitchers at AAA who could pitch at the major league level. Everybody agrees that that's true. And the Reds debate, I'm sure it happens internally in the Reds organization. Do you bring Stevenson up now? Do you bring these young pitchers up now? Something that every organization has to deal with. There goes Duvall. He holds the line and pulls it in on the warning track, 1 step from the wall. Nice catch by the Reds left fielder, and that sends Parra back to second. Nice job by Adam. So a 2-away runner still at second, and that brings up the catcher Tony Walters. And there's some that would say bring them up when they're ready. Others that would say the opportunity to learn and grow at this level may speed up their process. Not sure that there's a right or wrong answer to it. It depends on your own individual situation and the year that you're in. When you came up, Chris, you very seldom came up as a starter, right? You ended up starting in the bullpen.
Yeah, and that seems to be something that no team really does very much anymore. I mean, oftentimes you see it done the opposite way, the way it does with Michael Lorenzen last year. They brought him up as a starter. He started throwing too many innings for their number, and then they put him in the bullpen at the end of the year.
No balls, 2 strikes to Walters, who's 2 for 2, a single and a double, and a run batted in. Nice block by Barnhart, and no hold the runner.
The one thing about bringing young players up, pitchers especially, I always hear some executives say, well, when we bring him up, we want it to be the last time. We never want to send him down again. And I've never really understood that, because that's why you have the minor leagues. You get a guy who takes the major leagues, he pitches up here a few times, he realizes what he needs to improve on. If somebody gets healthy off the disabled list, he goes back to AAA or AA, and he works on what he needs now to know. Because most every pitcher that's pitching down in AA has got the talent to pitch in the major leagues. You just got to be able to, move the ball around, figure out a way to get hitters out consistently. And if you're a golden arm pitcher, then it's a lot easier for you. But it doesn't mean a guy like Daniel Wright, who doesn't throw exceptionally hard, can't be successful in the big leagues. He can be.
2 balls, 2 strikes to the catcher, Walters.
We're going to set the all-time record for number of timeouts called by batters in this ball game.
There used to be a time where almost everybody stole signs from second. These days it doesn't happen that often anymore. Swing and a miss, great spot. They strand a runner at second. Reds looking for some offense. We go to the 6th. They trail 8-1. In a Great American Ballpark Saturday, June the 11th. First 25,000 fans will receive a Reds Garden Gnome thanks to Miracle Grow. Catch all the action June 11th for only $12. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. The Rockies 8 runs, 12 hits, no errors. John Gray has allowed the Reds only a run on 3 hits. The lone Cincinnati run came in the 3rd. Infield hit from Barnhart. Moscott was hit by a pitch. Cozart walked, and then Hamilton walked with the bases loaded. That's the lone run the Reds have. Gray has struck out 4 during his 5 innings of work. He's had 2 games, one on May the 2nd, where he struck out 11 against San Diego, and back in April he struck out 10 against the Dodgers. Power arm right-hander with the compact motion, dealing to Joey Votto here in the 6th. Votto lined out and struck out. in the air to left. Going back, looking up is Parra at the warning track. Forget it. That is gone. Votto went to school after facing Gray last time. And with the bases loaded last time he struck out, this time he delivers in the 6th. His 201st home run for his career. And the Reds are on the board with a round tripper. It's 8-2.
Well, you know, at this point in his career, I think John Gray is more of a thrower than he is a pitcher. And if you leave the ball out over the plate, even in the high 90s, that is the spot for Joey Votto. And nice to see him go yard back-to-back days. Maybe that's beginning to come out of it in a big way.
We've seen 3 of his best swings the last couple of days. So for Votto, that's home run number 201 for his career. Continues to climb the all-time list. He's number 10 right now. Now only 2 behind Eric Davis at number 9. ED at 203. Ken Griffey Jr. at 210. And of course Jay Bruce in the number 7 spot at 217. The all-time round tripper list headed by the great Johnny Bench at 389. Broken bat. Duvall dribbles it to second. They'll get him by a step. Here comes Jay Bruce, doubled and grounded out, 1 for 2 so far today. A lot of people forget, Chris, that Denver, while Joey Votto and the rest of the Reds have been coming here, first Mile High Stadium and then Coors Field. When Barry Larkin came through, he was playing minor league baseball here. You did too. It was for just a couple of years.
For the Denver Zephyrs, I think they're only here 1 year, but boy, what a team they fielded down here.
It was that was the forerunner of the teams that were so important to leading towards the '90 World Championship. Paul O'Neill, Chris Sabo,
Barry Larkin, Cal Daniels on that team, Jeff Montgomery, who went on to save hundreds of games for the Kansas City Royals, was on that ball club. Lloyd McClendon, I think, was on that team, now managing a couple of different teams.
In fact, Bob Howsam, of course, was certainly the architect of the Big Red Machine era with the Reds from the late 60s all the way through the mid 1980s. He, of course, lived here in Denver, had moved here permanently after he retired. This one hit pretty good by Bruce. Center field, going back, looking up. It is gone. So make it 218 for Jay Bruce. And the Reds finally dial it deep. 2 home runs here in the 6th. And they're now within 5. It's an 8-3 ball game. 10 homers on the year for Bruce and 217 for his career.
Boy, Jay Bruce gets his foot down and simply unloads on this pitch. It's right out over the center of the plate.
There's Suarez, who homered last night, bounced out and walked.
Has not been an easy game for John Gray. And he had that one long inning in the 3rd inning, and now that he's up close to 100 pitches, I wonder how long they're gonna ride him out here.
Dribble down to short. Story has it. Suarez retired, 2nd out of the inning. Well, this is 8th start of the year, and his last start last week at Boston, he went 7 1/3. Allowed 2 runs on the 2-run homer from Big Papi in the 1st, and slammed the door from then on out.
I think Votto and Bruce and they were talking about how far their respective home runs went. And Votto said, well, but I hit mine opposite field, so I should get more credit. I mean, mine went 389. Bruce said, well, I hit mine 452. out the front door where the big guys hit them.
This is a big guy home run ballpark.
I imagine every guy that is classified as a long ball hitter like Bruce is wondering, what if I spent, 5 years of my career here?
Mm-hmm. Everybody who's an offensive player, when they're free agents, thinks about that, about coming here.
And a lot of teams who are trading with the Colorado Rockies are wondering, how big is that park effect? I mean, if we trade for a Rocky that had a great year, can we depend on him to have the same type of year, when you're playing near sea level?
Those two guys have been close ever since the minor league days. That's hit hard. Down to third, Arenado has it. Quick flip to first, and they'll get Pacheco. But the Reds do some business. A homer from Votto, a homer from Bruce. They trail by 5.
Brought to you by T-Mobile. Daniel Murphy 2 for 4 today as they beat the Phillies 5-1, and his average now .397 since Chipper Jones in 2008. Last time we saw that. Jake Arrieta tonight looking to become MLB's first 10-game winner as they face the Dodgers, and Mookie Betts first career 3-home-run game tonight versus the Orioles. That's your greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile.
Thanks, JD. We'll get to see Murphy when the Washington Nationals come to town. Boy, what a start he's off to, huh?
He is.
Fueled the Washington Nationals offense from his second base spot. Going into play today, they have a lead over the Mets of a game, and Miami 4.5 out, and Philadelphia 4.5 out.
Sometimes it's a trade you don't make that are important ones. And then, of course, when it comes to the Washington Nationals, I'm referring to the potential trade. The Reds, they thought they had worked out with the Nationals for Brandon Phillips, who had 10-5 rights and could turn down any trade. Decided to turn that deal down, and Nationals wasted no time, went out and got Murphy.
Christian Adames pinch hitting for the pitcher, bangs one hop off the wall, and the speedy shortstop will cruise into second with a 2-base hit. So Adames pinch hitting gets a double to right.
Are you allowed to hit a single tonight?
Walters, I think, well, let's see, Walters and Descalzo, the only two that have singles. Everybody else has hit big bombs.
Well, maybe they feel that this is not bow tie Tuesday, but 2 for Tuesday.
Well, this guy unloaded to start the day. His 15th career leadoff home run. Charlie Blackmon gave the Rockies an early 1-0 lead. That started the onslaught. Homers by Blackmon, Arenado, Gonzalez, and Parra. 4 of them have helped pace the Rockies to an 8-3 lead. Runner at second, nobody out. That's wide for a ball. Blackman grew up in Dallas, was a big-time pitcher as a high school player, and really it wasn't until late in his college career that he settled on being an everyday player. And you would have put him in the same category as Michael Lorenzen. When scouts looked at him, they wondered, would he be a pitcher, would he be a hitter? It looks like he made the right decision.
Actually looks like he's being a Civil War reenactment.
Yeah.
But he's had that beard really before anybody.
Yep, he was one of the
first. He kind of
first.
set the trend, didn't he?
It's getting thicker and thicker every year. And he gets better and better every year.
He's a good
Maybe
player.
it's like Samson, huh? The strength is in the beard. 1 ball, 1 strike. He plays the game with fire. That's one of the best compliments you can give any kind of a player.
Well, he hit 17 home runs last year, 19 the year before that. Lifetime around a 290 hitter.
Right to the stretch. This one hit pretty good left center field. Billy Hamilton cruising. Duvall there. Duvall will make the catch. Tagging and going to third will be Adames. The speedy pinch hitter goes to third, and the fly ball by Blackman.
Hamilton covers so much ground. I think he put his arm up like, I've got it. But you got to remember out there, you got to really communicate by yelling to each other, because neither of those outfielders are going to take their eye off the ball to see where the other outfielder is.
And Billy was pulled towards right center field with the left-handed Blackman at the plate.
I wouldn't want to run into Adam Duvall either.
No. This one looped into right. Bruce can't get it. That'll get another run in. Rounding first, going to second will be DJ LeMahieu, and there's another run batted in for the Rockies. They lead at 9-3. Great effort by Bruce, just couldn't get the glove on it in the right field corner.
Really good effort by Jay Bruce. Ball slicing away from him right here, trying to dive to catch that ball. Maybe save a pitcher a run if he could.
Fourth inning of work for Wright. Now at 54 pitches with 1 out, runner at second, and here's Arenado, homered in the first, bounced out and bounced into a double play. Larry Bernard, who was the architect of the signing of all the pitchers when this expansion team was first set with Bob Gebhardt, the general manager, believed, number one, you needed sinker ball pitchers. Number two, you had to cut the infield grass high if you could get them to hit ground balls. But number three, he said the philosophy, you have to pitch people inside here and use off-speed pitches. The infield here, in fact, has just been resodded. It's been resodded twice this year. They had the NHL hockey game here during the winter in January. They resodded it then, and then after a high school tournament chewed it up in April, they resodded it again. Look out, that's hammered to left. If it's fair, it's gone. It's fair, and it's gone. Arenado, another 2-home run game. His homer in the first made it 3-0, and this 2-run shot in the 6th gives the Rockies an 11-3 lead.
I don't know how he kept this ball fair. I mean, that ball was going right down the line, and it really did not hook all that much at all.
Well, he said before the game today that yesterday was his worst day of the year because he had to sit, couldn't play all day, but he, boy, sure made up for that today. 2 big bombs,
Home
2
run,
for 4.
Yeah, home runs number 15 and 16 for Arenado. He had 42 last year, Arenado did.
Tied for the league lead.
And they feel like he is just now getting to a point where he's going to hit that performance plateau where players get to a certain level and then they kind of stay there through their peak years. It's going to be fun to watch him.
Well, he and Story had tied for the team lead and were second in the league in homers, and now the 2 homers tonight have moved him past Cespedes. Reaching out is Gonzalez. He bangs this one into left, and Wright just maybe running out of gas here, Chris.
You know, I'm just kind of curious, really, about the way the Reds are playing defense on Carlos Gonzalez, which is to pull, but every pitch they've thrown him tonight has either been on the outside corner or away off the plate. And Gonzalez has hit a home run to left field, and now he gets a base hit to left field. So somehow the scouting report and the defensive report and Gonzalez haven't gotten all together. So they have to have a meeting with Gonzalez next time and say, listen, we want you to pull the ball more.
Well, here comes Brian Price, double switch. Wright came in the 3rd inning. The first batter he faced, he gave up a home run to Parra, and then Chris, in the 59 pitches that he's amassed here in the last 4 innings, he exits on the short end of an 11-3 count. And while the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
By authority of the Cincinnati Reds, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Hey, make Great American Ballpark your family day destination this Sunday. Take advantage and save with the Family Sunday ticket offer. Enjoy live mascot races, face painters, games, and a whole lot more. Plus, thanks to Queen City Sausage, all kids 14 and younger receive a Zach Cozart Fathead. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Double switch. Diaz in to pitch, and for the Reds, Ivan De Jesus Jr. goes to second base, Chris.
Diaz is the kind of guy, it's an interesting story. He's not on his first organization. In fact, he signed with the Astros. He's been with the Astros, the Cubs, the Red Sox, and then signed with the Reds last November. But he's an interesting story of what happens to so many young players when they get signed in the minor leagues and you get lost down there for a while. He spent 11 years in the minor leagues. Signed when he was 16 years old out of Cartagena, Colombia. Had a pair of elbow surgeries, including Tommy John surgery in 2009, and still told himself, I'm going to make it. I'm not going to give up. And here he is pitching in the major leagues.
Perseverance, and he takes over in the 6th for Wright, who went 3 1/3, 8 hits, 4 runs, and a strikeout for Daniel Wright. That followed John Moscott, who went only 2 innings, allowed 8 hits, 7 runs, and a strikeout.
Ooh, squeezing him a little bit. That could have at least been a 3-0 Leo.
Story reaches via the walk. The first batter that Diaz faces, and here comes Gerardo Parra. Story 0 for 3 in that walk. Parra, a double, a homer, and a single, 3 for 3. Well, last night it looked like Dan Straley was in big trouble early, but battled back. And the Reds responded offensively and finally gave the Reds 6 innings. And what Brian Price feared last night was blowing out his bullpen in game 1. He's had to use the bullpen a lot here in game 2 of this series. Diaz has continued a pretty good bloodline from Colombia that have wound up wearing Reds unis. Orlando Cabrera, Holbert Cabrera, and Edgar Renteria. 3 pretty good teammates, 3 outstanding competitors who wore Reds unis. Those are the only other Colombian ball players that the Reds have had at the major league level.
Reds have players from nearly every Latin American country with the exception of Mexico.
Hit hard. They'll get 1 at second, on to first. They'll turn it into 2. So 2 double plays tonight, 39 on the season for the Reds. They're back trailing by 8, 11-3. Started early and often. Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado homers in the first. In the second, DJ LeMahieu drilled 1 to center field. Then Carlos Gonzalez hit a 3-2 pitch against John Moscott to make it 7-0 in the second inning. They weren't done yet. Gerardo Parra in the third hits his 4th home run. Arenado hits another one. Added all up, 6 home runs and 11 runs knocked in. The Reds bounced back. Joey Votto hit his 201st home run, and Jay Bruce chimed in with a home run of his own, number 218 for his career. But you add it up, Moscott on the losing side of this scoreboard, John Gray on the winning side of the scoreboard. 11 runs, 16 hits for the Rockies, 3 runs, only 5 hits for the Reds. And Chad Qualls will come in after Gray goes 6 innings and allows the Reds only those 3 runs.
What a great major league career that Chad Qualls has had. Broke in with the Houston Astros. He's been all over the place. It'd take you half an inning to tell you all the different teams he's been with. 802 major league games, including tonight for Qualls, 21 on the season.
Wilson bounce to the right side. Qualls getting over there to cover the bag, and he does. One away. Barnhart retired. And with the double switch, the number 9 spot in the order belongs to Ivan De Jesus Jr. And there was that period of time when Qualls first came up, Chris, in Houston, and Billy Wagner was the closer. You said, boy, this guy's going to be the closer of the future, huh?
Yeah. But he was so good at where he was that, you know, you want to keep him there. Now, he did get to a point when he was at Arizona, he was their closer, had 24 saves. The second year he was with the Diamondbacks, that was 2009. He is now 38 years old. He'll be 38 years old in August.
He hit the 800 appearance mark this past weekend against the Giants. That's number 7 on the all-time list is Francisco Cordero. He moved ahead of him today with this appearance at 801. And as we talk about, you know, in a place like this where your bullpen gets beat up, you need guys who are veterans who can lead. And Qualls is that kind of a guy. Breaking ball is wide. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ivan De Jesus Jr.
Boy, Ivan's come a long way. I mean, he was just trying to get on the interstate for the first couple of months of the season, it seemed like. Started the season off with a dreadful 0-for streak, and he's brought his batting average now up over 200. Hits are coming a lot easier for him here recently.
It's been a steady climb for him. He's now 4 for 7 in his last 3 games. And wherever you put him, he gives you solid defense. Before the game today, Vinny Castilla came over to talk to Eugenio Suarez just to kind of give him a pep talk. He knew he was in a long funk that he broke out of yesterday. Castilla, one of those Blake Street bombers, who certainly a guy who is well respected as a leader, and over came Ivan, and they talked about defense, talked about offense. Great respect that Castilla has, Chris, around Major League Baseball. Bounce back off the glove of Qualls. They'll get 1 at second, on to first. They turn it into 2. It goes 1 to 4 to 6 to 3. They turn their second double play of the night, and this one's a dandy as Cozart's retired. Off the glove, LeMahieu flips it to Story, and the inning ends. The Bang with Fireworks Fridays at Great American Ballpark. This Friday, cheer on the Reds when they take on the Nationals for as low as $12. Plus, enjoy a post-game fireworks show presented by Coca-Cola. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. So back to work goes Diaz, and back to the plate comes Daniel Descalso. Descalso tonight singled in the 4th run for the Rockies in the 1st, bounced out and flied out. Dion Diaz got the final 2 outs of the 6th, and he goes back to work here in the 7th. Just like Pacheco is very versatile, Descalso is the same way. He plays second, third, and short, and has also got time at first where he started tonight. Always been a pain in the neck to the Reds in a Cardinal uniform or a Rocky uniform. 3 hits yesterday and a key hit to keep them rolling early when the Rockies had a 5-1 lead before the Reds rallied to win Game 1. And tonight already a run scoring single.
You know, Descalso gives you the rarity of having a left-handed hitting utility infielder on your team. Most of those guys are good glove guys. They play all around the infield, but the majority of them are right-handed hitters. And teams always seem like they're looking for a lefty somehow, and that lefty off the bench is oftentimes an outfielder. That's why Descalso can etch himself out a very nice major league career. He's just kind of doing what he does.
And Chris, as we head to the draft on June the 9th, you talk about, you know, who are the prime suspects to be drafted high, and they're usually the guys that are the, you know, the 5-tool players, the big body guys, whether they're pitchers or outfielders or infielders. But there's some guys that are just baseball players that make your team better. Descalso's a guy like that. 3-2 again from Diaz.
There will be a bunch of guys like that drafted coming up here in a week or so when that draft comes about, but you just don't know at this point who they are. What you normally don't do is set out to take with one of your high picks, you know, somebody who you project as a bench player, even as a major leaguer. But I mean, if you can mine the draft and pick up a really good pick from the 15th round and have a couple of guys that you pick in the 20s that eventually make the major leagues, you've really done great.
Now they get to the 7, 8, and 9 for the Colorado Rockies. They usually piece it together with 3 or 4 of their late inning relievers, and they've been very successful in doing it. And with the number 8 hitter Walters at the plate and the pitcher spot due up next, Justin Miller is in the bullpen with Ryan Rayburn in the on-deck circle.
Well, they've got the double slam lead right now.
Rockies have been successful. They've lost only 1 game. That came this past weekend when leading after 7. 19-1. There's Miller loosening. Descalso off first, Votto playing behind him. Three and 0 to Walters. Diaz walked the first batter he faced last inning, but got a double play, and he walks the leadoff hitter here in the 7th. There's a strike. Slapped the other way and out of play. So we'll go full 3-2 to the Rockies catcher. No matter what age, that's a special moment. Hit hard. Votto dives. It's off his glove. Rounding second, going to third will be Descalzo. That'll go as a double. And runners at second and third with no one out.
Walter's having a nice night here at the bottom of the order, coming in the number 8 spot. He's picked up now his 3rd hit, his 2nd double. The Rockies are just pouring it on.
For the Rockies, the most since April the 13th against San Francisco. And so far tonight, 11 runs on 17 hits. The Reds have second and third, still no one out. And here's the pinch hitter, Ryan Rayburn. A record-tying night for the Rockies, extra base hit-wise, in Major League Baseball for this 2016 season. And Diaz just trying to find a way out of this jam. They're starting to rustle around in the Reds bullpen again. Don Moscart started 2 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs. Daniel Wright 3 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs. Mark Riggins out to talk to his right-hander. I guess by the time this year ends, Chris, Mark Riggins will be able to write a book on his words of wisdom. He's been out there so many times.
Well, he won't need a GPS to get to the mound, that's for sure.
He could have run the Boulder Marathon yesterday.
He didn't know. He thought he could get by this season with coaching shoes instead of track shoes.
Okay, let's see if Diaz can find a way to wriggle out of this with a Rayburn. Pitch hitting from the right side. That's in there for a strike. He's the most effective pinch hitter that Walt Weiss has. 5 for 17 on the season, including a couple of home runs. Fastball misses inside. Misses there. Now the bases are loaded. That is the 3rd walk allowed since Diaz came in. Now they're loaded. Still no one out here in the 7th, and it seems like every time you turn around, Charlie Blackmon's coming to the plate. Homer to lead off the game. Flied to left twice and struck out.
After seeing Diaz essentially walk the bases loaded, only 2 walks and a double, but he's got them loaded here, nowhere to put Blackmon and nobody out. I mean, he's got to be hunting a fastball here on the first pitch. But if you're Diaz, you got to throw it in there.
That's hit a mile, but way foul. Second deck shot. And you were right on both counts, Chris.
Well, it actually was a slider, and that's probably the reason why Blackmon got out ahead of it and he hooked it foul. Had that been a fastball, someone up there around that purple line would have been ducking.
Strike one to Blackman. No foul, and it's 0-2. And for those of you that aren't familiar, that purple line represents the 1 mile high marker here at Coors Field in this mile high city of Denver. A little over 20,000, 20,448 at tonight's game.
It looks blue at night, but it really is purple, I think.
Yes, missing on the outside corner.
Well, look how far Tucker Barnhart was outside on that. I mean, there was just no way that Diaz could have thrown the ball over the plate, and Barnhart could have counted. He was that far outside. Did not want to give up an 0-2 hit.
Base is loaded, nobody out. Oh, baby. Right field, Bruce back, looking up. It's the first career grand slam for Charlie Blackmon. A 2-home run game for Blackmon. A 2-home run game for Arenado. Chimed it in with Carlos Gonzalez home run and another by Parra, and it spells 15 runs for the Colorado Rockies.
Well, you missed with the 0-2, and he did miss his spot on the 1-2, and just kind of cranked it right in there for him.
$15 runs, now 18 hits for the Rockies, and still no one out here in the 7th inning. There's LeMahieu. He homered back in the 2nd to make it 6-0. A single, a double, a homer, and a double for LeMahieu. 4 for 4 tonight. And if you're wondering, 7 home runs ties the Rockies' best ever, dating back to April of 1997 at Montreal. That's one side of the story. And the 7 home runs allowed tonight ties the team record on the other side. 4th time that's happened against Reds pitching. We've been here over the years, Chris, for some wild and woolly games. Sometimes it's one-sided, sometimes it's a race to the finish with both sides homering. On this night, it's been all Rockies. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled off the mask of Barnhart. 2-2. This team, you know, has firepower. They came in 3rd in the league overall offensively. Their home run total not as prolific as it has been in years past, but they've upped the ante here today. You wonder, can they hang in there in the West, though, with San Francisco and the Dodgers? I mean, they're within striking distance coming into tonight, 7.5 back. But can they hang in there when you hit August and September?
Well, they can hit their way in there, but will their starting pitching be good enough?
3rd walk in the inning by Diaz. 4th walk since he came on with 1 out in the 6th inning. And here comes Brian Price. That'll be it. So while the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
All right, let's take it back to April 10th, 2000. In this ballpark, Ken Griffey Jr. as a Red hits career home run number 400. Miller time moment for tonight. And interesting, he went on to hit the other milestones in his career on the road. 500 in St. Louis, 600, I believe, down in Miami. And George, I believe you called all those.
All right, JD. We had some moments to remember with Junior. Number 400, we were there. Number 500 and number 600. Changes for the Reds.
Duvall goes to third, and Tyler Holt takes over and left.
So here's A.J. Morris who'll come in. He'll be the fourth pitcher for the Reds. Moscott, 2 innings, 7 runs, 8 hits. Wright, 3 1/3, 8 hits and 4 runs. Diaz exits after giving up the grand slam this inning, and here's Morris taking over, Chris.
Well, he's another guy getting an opportunity to pitch in the major leagues and probably didn't think he would get that shot so far this year.
Down to third, but foul.
Tough game for any reliever to come into. I mean, when an offensive team heats up, sometimes, man, you just don't even want to answer that bullpen phone, because no matter what you do on that particular night, you're just not going to shut him down. And now in the case of Dion Diaz, it was a matter of not being able to throw quality strikes. Walk 3, a double and a home run, and we're still looking for the first out here in the 7th inning.
Morris made his major league debut against the Dodgers Tuesday in that 8-2 loss at Dodger Stadium. Came up last week from Louisville. And he walks the first batter he faces. 4 walks in the inning by the Reds now, and that's all you can do is take a deep breath and shake your head. And Brian Price knew what he signed up for this year with the rebuilding process, but the way things have developed, I mean, Chris, the one thing you can do is throw strikes.
Well, the one thing that Brian preached to everybody in spring training, and he told everybody who was within earshot, said, you know, the one thing we're not going to do here this year is walk batters. And that's the one thing the Reds have done worse than any team in baseball, by far. And it certainly isn't Brian Price. He's not throwing bases on balls. But, I mean, they're bringing up pitchers out of the minor leagues that aren't ready to be here.
2 on, still nobody out. And here's Gonzalez. Carlos homered back in the second. His 10th homer of the year and the 4th straight game he's homered in. He's 2 for 4. That's a strike.
I can guarantee you one thing. 15-3 or not, Carlos Gonzalez wants to hit this ball 900 feet. He's not giving up or giving up an at-bat against a soft-tossing right-hander just because they're up by 12 runs.
Line to left center. Duvall over. He won't get there. It's one hop off the wall. This is going to score one to make it 16-3. A double for Gonzalez. And second and third, still nobody out. When he's dialed in, Chris, he sprays them everywhere, and you think he's a big-time pull hitter. Well, his strength is left and left center, even in this ballpark.
He likes the ball away from him, and he shows you that by how far he steps up in the batter's box away from the plate. Steps right into it, goes the other way. And if you make a mistake on the outer third, up a little bit, you usually get a hard line drive in that gap.
So Morris to the stretch, second and third, still no one out. That's way inside for a ball. Trevor Story tonight bounced out, flied out, bounced out, and walked. That slapped foul the other way, and it's 1-1.
I mean, Story's the one guy that hasn't been invited to the hit fest. I mean, they have 19 hits on the board, and Story has managed a walk. Got robbed by Zach Kozar in the first inning on a nice play. But he's looking at an offer right now.
16 runs, 19 hits for the Rockies, and Moore is still trying to get the first out for the Reds here in the 7th. Did he hold? Yes, he did. That will go full 3-2. Now, yesterday the Rockies fans sat on their hands for most of the second half of the ball game as the Reds powered 4 home runs late, wound up winning in style 11-8. Today they've turned the table on the Reds big time. 16 runs, 19 hits for the Rockies. Home run baseball still part of vernacular here in Denver, Chris. Not the Blake Street Bombers. They look like home run hitters, every one of them here. These guys are just home run hitters, period. Popped up right side. That'll be in the seats too. Morris to the stretch, second and third. Here's the 3-2. And there's your first out of the inning. They get Story. And the ninth batter of the inning comes to the plate, Gerardo Parra. Remember those days in the bullpen where you didn't want the phone to ring on a night like this?
I never wanted the bullpen phone to ring. I was happy with those hot dogs and popcorn down there. It rang more when I started than it did when I relieved.
Here's Parra, a double, a homer, a single, and bounced out. This one fly ball center field. Billy's over there. He's got it, tagging at third. And scoring will be the 17th run of the night. So Parra picks up his sacrifice fly. And Descalzo will come up for the second time in the inning. Daniel walked to start this against Diaz. Descalzo on the night. A single his first time up to knock in a run. Oh, 1 for 3 and the walk. Well, Gonzalez stayed at third as Arenado scored on the sacrifice fly. So runner at second, one away. And Walters, the catcher, on deck. Left field, Holt is there. He'll squeeze it, and that'll finally close the door. But more damage done. Rockies lead it 17-3. One when the Rays take on the Twins at 3:30. That's 3:30 Eastern. Then on Baseball Night in America, two of the all-time best catchers in their respective franchises will face off as Buster Posey and the National League West leading Giants are in St. Louis to face Yadier Molina and the Cardinals in a 7 p.m. Eastern game on your local Fox station, Fox 19 in Cincinnati, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go coming up on Saturday. Here it's 17 runs, 19 hits for the Rockies. 3 runs, 6 hits for the Reds. The Reds' runs came in the third. A bases loaded walk to Billy Hamilton, their first run of the day. Joey Votto, a leadoff homer in the 6th. And a 1-out homer by Jay Bruce in the 6th as well. The 3 runs that the Reds have. So here's Justin Miller to take over. So Miller enters the game in the number 4 spot in the order. Walters will move to short, and Garneau will be your catcher. Billy tonight bounced into a double play and fought through a 9-pitch at bat against John Gray to work a walk and force in the Reds' first run in the 3rd. Then he bounced to short in the 5th. Bang to the right side and threw into right field, a base hit. And that's Ryan Rayburn, who stays in the game in right. So it's Rayburn, Blackman, and Parra in the outfield. Arenado still at 3rd. Walters at short. LeMahieu at 2nd. Descalzo still at 1st, and Garneau behind the plate.
How many teams can stick their catcher
Not often you see that, huh?
into the shortstop spot? I mean, probably a place where he played growing up every day. Every day he wasn't pitching, that is.
Joey rifles this one to right. Over is Rayburn. He's got it. And that'll hold a runner at 1st.
Well, I think he hit that ball harder than he did his home run ball. Hit a rocket shot for an out in the 1st inning. Hit the home run and then hit that ball right there. Probably too good. Just a humpback line drive right at him.
Probably the best news of the last 2 games, Chris, is that we've seen some better at bats from number 19. More comfortable in the plate and really turning on the ball.
I would agree.
Brandon Phillips did not start today. Penciled into the lineup early, but then a late scratch. Hope is he'll be back tomorrow. Here's Duvall, 0 for 3 after his 2 home run game yesterday. In there for a strike. The big righty Miller to the stretch with Billy Hamilton down at 1st. Game 3 of the series tomorrow. John Lamb will get the ball for the Reds, looking for his first win against Tyler Chatwood, who's had a great start for the Rockies. He's 6-3 in an ERA under 3. Be on the air with Reds Live at 8 o'clock. Game will follow at 8:40, and then on Thursday, Alfredo Simon goes against Eddie Butler. Reds Live 8 o'clock. Game will follow at 8:40. And the Reds head home to take on the Washington Nationals. Well, after yesterday, a steady diet of breaking balls for the Reds left fielder today, Chris.
Some of those outfielders are going to need to go to the chiropractor to get their neck straightened out.
Fastball this time. That's a swing and a miss. 2 away here in the 8th. And here comes Jay Bruce. Bruce a double and a homer today. Doubled back in the 2nd, left stranded, and he homered with 1 out in the 6th. They don't hold Billy on. He'll take second base. No stolen base. They overshift on Bruce. Rifled over the leaping effort of Walters into right center field. Bruce will have at least 2. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. Jay's thinking 3. Round second going to 3rd. He'll knock in the Reds' 4th run and have a 3-bagger as well. A double, a triple, and a homer for Jay Bruce.
Well, this ball sounds good coming off the bat of Jay Bruce, and it goes into that right field corner, which is the deepest part of that part of the ballpark, and splits that seam perfectly. I'll tell you, Jay Bruce is running better than I've seen him run in a while. I mean, he was really scooting it around his base paths.
Now 2 years removed from his knee surgery. There's a big swing by Suarez, popped up in the infield. Garneau under it, got it, and that'll do it. So the Reds will strand Bruce at third. They pick up a run. We're going to the bottom of 8 in Denver. At 30 minutes before tomorrow's game, and every game right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And after the game tonight, don't forget Reds Live post game. Jeff Pecoro and Brian Giesensaw will wrap things up for you and set the stage for tomorrow, where John Lamb will go for his first win against Tyler Chatwood. Well, yesterday it was John Moscott embracing the Reds' heavy offensive effort, and now John Lamb's probably hiding in the clubhouse somewhere after looking at this one tonight, Chris.
Well, fortunately nowadays, George, I don't think the next day pitcher has to chart the game like
no
the
more.
old days. They have people to do that for him. So he's getting a little pep talk from the big pasta.
He'll be ready. Lamb tomorrow. There's Tony Walters, started as the catcher, now the shortstop. Walters doubled, single, struck out, doubled. First out at the bottom of the 8th. And here's Ryan Rayburn hitting in the 9th spot. Rayburn walked his first time up last inning, part of that 7th inning 6-run rally. I mean, they long ago did away with next day's pitchers charting. That's off Morris. Recovers and gets the out. Nice job by the Reds right-hander to turn that into an out. Charge those balls, right?
Sometimes you have no chance but to charge them.
He's all right.
Or just try to get your body in the way.
Well, here comes Blackmon. Blackmon 2 homers today, including his first career grand slam. 5 runs batted in, 2 for 5 on the day. down the middle for a strike, 1-1. By the way, when you joined us late, when the Reds did reactivate John Moscott before the game today, they placed right-hander Caleb Cotham on the disabled list with right shoulder inflammation, a move that the Reds made prior to the game today. This one hit deep to left. Back goes Duval, looking up at the warning track, Holt rather, and he'll haul it in. So Tyler Holt catches up with another bolt off the bat of Blackman. Last roundup for the Reds. Holt will lead it off when we return. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices, all at Kroger. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. There's the 16th Street Mall that Chris was talking about earlier. Whole host of stores that's really run the gamut in the last 20 years from when they first built the ballpark here. Tyler Holt fouls it off. Convention Center on the other side of the 16th Street Mall, the Reds Hotel on the ballpark side, and the ballpark only about 4 blocks away from there. There's Tyler's first at bat of the night, leading it off, top of 9. Nationals victorious over the Phillies today, 5-1. Miami beat the Pirates 3-1. Giants have won 4-0 over Atlanta, and the Dodgers beat the Cubs 5-0 at Wrigley. That misses inside. Cardinals final now at Milwaukee, 10-3 winners there. The Astros beat the Diamondbacks by a final of 8-5. And Todd Frazier homered again as the White Sox beat the Mets 6-4. This afternoon, Seattle beat San Diego 16-4.
In that San Diego game, they gave up 16 runs. They did not use but one, but they used 2 position players to come in and pitch, including their starting catcher, Christian Bentecourt.
He's got an arm.
Mid-90s.
Yep. That's a walk to Holt. So Holt, a leadoff walk here in the 9th. Don't forget following tonight's ball game and following every Reds ball game. We got Reds Live post game coming your way, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Complete recap of tonight's game and a look ahead towards tomorrow's game 3 of the series, John Lamb against Tyler Chatwood. Miller's second inning of work gives up the walk and now deals to the catcher, Tucker Barnhart. Now, in addition to starting Moscott today, Chris, putting Caleb Cotham on the DL made the bullpen even shorter for Brian Price tonight. This one looped down the left field line. Here comes Parra. He's got it.
Well, they have got some guys down there, George, that have not been overworked. I mean, when they went down to the bullpen to bring up some of these young players like A.J. Morris, who we see tonight, you know, and Josh Smith, both of those pitchers were down starting in the minor leagues. So they could theoretically give the Reds multiple innings, you know, if needed to be. But you better come ready with a lot of pitchers when you come into Colorado. There are a lot of times that a team will make a roster move before they play a 4-game set in Colorado, and they'll rid themselves of a bench player and bring in an extra reliever. Very common.
Here's Ivan De Jesus Jr. Singled his first time up after double switched into the game. And as usually is the case, it happened last year and happening again this year. It's a scramble for Delino DeShields and Teddy Power with their pitching down at AAA Louisville. When the Reds make these moves, it ripples throughout the organization.
Well, it does, but what they're looking forward to, I'm sure, is that somewhere along the line they're going to get some of those great pitching prospects that they have getting ready down in AA to make their AAA move here. I would think maybe sometime this year for these guys. So Teddy Power and Delino are going to be happy to see the kind of quality arms that are coming up through the system.
Now, moments like these sometimes hurt on the short term, but hopefully on the long term they pay off in terms of the growth of some of these young arms. Here's the 1-2. That's wide. Holt still on first.
These are the kind of nights you forget about unless you're one of the guys involved on the mound. And you'd like to forget about it, but it keeps you tossing and turning.
Especially a manager. You're still looking at the wall at 4 o'clock in the morning. Hit hard down to short. They'll get one at second, on to first. That's a play. Well, it's that kind of night for the Colorado Rockies. A great offensive performance, and then even when they move the catcher to short, he ends the game with an outstanding defensive play. And what a night for Charlie Blackmon. 2 homers, including his first career grand slam. For the Rockies, they put big numbers on the board and win game 2 of this series. 2 nights of offensive baseball. We'll talk more about it. Look ahead to the post-game show after these messages.